July 14th, 2019.
This is more than a cricket match. I know that sounds ridiculous, but you just feel that this is such an important day for English cricket.
England versus New Zealand.
A lot hanging on this day, I think. I mean, cricket's future, possibly.
The World Cup final at the home of cricket.
Today is a massive day for cricket because every young boy and girl, cricket fan, sports fan, just someone that's just tinkering along, just watching a bit of TV can stumble across the game of cricket today. So it's
4 years' work has came down to 1 hour's cricket.
I'm really looking forward to just seeing how a group of players who have played so well for 4 years cope with this.
This is a story of that final hour, from the people at the centre of it.
But days like this, you're looking at New Zealand, no one's given them a chance. I've not met one person on that pitch that has gone, you know what, New Zealand can win today. Just go back.
Over the next 60 minutes, you'll hear from me, Ben Stokes.
The amount of thought and effort I put into, constructing that innings and the processes that I went through, I wouldn't have been able to do 5 years ago, definitely not.
Owen Morgan.
Batting to start with, myself and the coach were talking about who we would send in. Literally, as that conversation finished, Jofra walked up to me and was like, Morgs, it's me, isn't it? And I was like, yeah, it's you, mate.
Mark Wood.
I said to Stokes at the time, I says, look, no matter what happens, I'm just going to run. And he just completely ignored me. His eyes were like big and glazed over. He was so in the zone.
Adil Rashid.
The energy in the dressing room was, there was excitement. That's the real word I can put, excitement on, just to see, what will happen at the end. We're only 10 minutes away to find out if we actually win the World Cup or we lose the World Cup.
And Jason Roy.
And I thought I've made a big mistake here. Turned around, saw the crowd just staring at me, almost in disbelief that I'd misfielded it. And I just wanted to crawl into a hole, to be honest.
This is the final hour, a BBC Sounds exclusive.
England cricket. Well, what a final we've got. 6 overs to go. And England need 53. If it's 52 they get, we will be into a super over.
Is that right?
We will.
Oh, come on.
Me and Joss play very, very well together. We put on some really good partnerships over, the last 3 or 4 years, and I think we both know how we play together at our best. We complement each other really well. I just had a plan of, taking the scoring opportunities when they came along and almost giving the strike to Joss because of his natural game is play quite aggressively and put the bowlers under the pump no matter what the situation is.
I think Stokes' job now is just to give Butler the strike.
Butler waits. Ferguson goes into bowl to him, and Butler hits a full toss over extra cover, out towards the Warner stand for 4. Not a great delivery from Lockie Ferguson. It was dealt with by Butler, right in his hitting zone, and he went over extra cover. 48 to win from 34 balls.
We knew the scoring rate wasn't going to be a massive issue, so it was just about trying to rotate strike and build a partnership, because I knew, one of the great strengths of the team is we bat deep. Ben had been in great form, as I said. He needed a partner, and I just wanted to, we wanted to extend that partnership. We talked about if we were here with 10 overs to go, we can win this game.
Here is Butler going into Ferguson outside the off stump. Now this could be caught on the deep cover boundary. It is. It's caught on the deep cover boundary. Butler's on his way, miscued a big drive.
One of my big things, I want to be the guy at the end and be there, not out, and get your team over the line. I felt in great form all of that innings. It felt like I'd got to the point where I wanted to be, and now I was going to do my thing and see the team over the line. And I tried to win it too early in a way, and just try and take one risk too many, having already hit a boundary that over. And that moment the ball's in the air and you're just thinking just a little bit of luck or someone, and I saw it was actually Tim Southey, who is a really good fielder, who come on as a sub, and he misjudged it a little bit to start with, but and that sinking feeling that I can no longer affect the game, I think that's the hardest bit to deal with. And then you sat in the dressing room just watching it, and you've got no control over anything that can happen.
Well, I have to say that's a brilliant catch, because Tim Southey, he started to go back and then he realised it was a little bit shorter and he steadied himself and he ran in.
I remember Joss Butler punching the physio bench, jumping around, and he never acts like that. He never does. He's cool, calm, collected, a bit like Mogi. The calm people, they trust that process, they trust the way that they play, and that's what happens. And he was so frustrated when he got out. He was punching the bench, he was sat in his haunches, he couldn't watch, he couldn't sit still, and I've never seen him like that ever.
2:42 to win. England 196 for 5. And the game lurches another way. It lurches back towards New Zealand.
Well, I said just previously, Ben Stokes' role was to get Josh Butler on strike because he'd hit it better. It's now Chris Wokes' role to get Ben Stokes on strike, and he has to start taking the real risk of hitting the boundary.
It wasn't a huge score to chase down. It was difficult conditions to bat in, but we knew if we could, stay out there and bat the full 50 overs, then we'll be close to chasing the runs down. And that obviously came from the way that we bowled, the performance we put in, restricting them to a pretty low score in modern day cricket. Allowed us to have a time to rebuild.
And no World Cup is won easily, that's for sure. Looking at the picture there from Trafalgar Square, the fan zones, a lot of people there sitting and watching this match there out in the open air, which is fantastic.
Stokes has got to do the business here. So hard for the new batsman coming out to bat in this pressure zone on this kind of wicket. Can't leave it to the likes of Plunkett, Rashid, Jofra Archer. He's got to see it home here for England.
We've seen an England supporter, he's praying. He's praying.
So am I.
He's got his earpiece. If you're listening to us, don't worry. Neesham's on his way. He goes round the wicket, bowls to Stokes, who clubs it away into the leg side. Out towards the boundary it goes. The crowd's willing it on, and it's gone for 4. And Neesham can't believe it. He's sunk there to his knees as Stokes finally hits the boundary that England needed. 7 from the over.
141 Ks.
Yeah, wide pace off.
Bowl slower.
203 for 5. Let's have a bit of Sweet Caroline.
Here we go, I guess.
This is Lords. This is Lords. Never has this been played at Lords, for sure.
We had to step back from the atmosphere that we were involved there, and because we were so blown away by it, we were like shivers down your back. We had to sort of gather our thoughts and get our mind back onto the task.
Well, it is incredible. 203 for 5. 4 overs remain. The target is 242. It's Ferguson, the fast bowler from the far end. Moves in, bowls to his kite. This is going to be caught by the keeper, surely. Oh, he's clung onto it and he's taken it, but my word, he made that look difficult. Oh, some nerves there, but not quite sure why Wokes did that, and there's shades of Sri Lanka there. With Stokes at the other end. Just give him the strike. Give him the strike. Wokes there, well, he's trying to put the fast bowler into the tab and stand. I just don't know why he did that.
Again across Seaman, hit hard into the surface, saying to the new batsman, go on, try and play the cross-batted shot. Not too sure Wokes needed to do that. Just get off strike, get Ben Stokes down the business end. Good catch from Lathan, he steadied himself. Any catch under this amount of pressure, good catch.
He lurched towards it.
Even if he got the gloves on.
Yeah. Certainly his.
I've got one of these watches that monitors your heart rate and stuff. And it's just buzzed and said, a minute of breathing will be good for me. 38 from 21. 4 wickets in hand. He's on his way again from the pavilion end and bowls very full. It's simply chipped away to mid-wicket by Plunkett. It's another dot ball and Stokes is helpless. And he's coming down a few paces now. They'll meet in the middle of the pitch. I see some very long faces amongst England supporters now, and Stokes, well, who knows what he said to him there, but he just gave him a little touch of the gloves. Here's Ferguson. He moves in now, bowls, and he's heaved it away. Out towards deep mid-wicket for 4. Liam Plunkett has got them cheering again. 34 from 19, it's still a very big ask, but a couple more of those and suddenly it'll be in reach again. But that's a brave shot in the air past mid-wicket.
Oh, what a great exhibition this has been for the game.
Fantastic.
Terrestrial TV, millions watching, listening.
As Trent Boult is in and he bowls to Stokes, who hits him away into the leg side. There's a man out there, and it's gone for 4. Straight between the two fielders out there, deep square leg and deep mid-wicket. The ball was full, it was round right Midland leg. And Stokes chanced his arm, and again those England flags are flying around Lords.
In situations like that, when you're watching or when you can't do anything to influence what's going on, that's when you're probably most vulnerable in terms of your nerves and the anxiousness of what's about to happen. So actually being out there in the middle, you're just out there in the moment, and you know what your job is, and you know that's what you've got to focus on.
24 off the last 2 overs. You've got to say that fancies New Zealand.
What do you think?
Well, it's Neesham to bowl from the pavilion
Yeah,
end.
it's a Neesham over and Bolt the last over. This is probably going to go to the last over in this match. Well, that's fantastic. That's befitting of
That's
a
what
final,
should
isn't it?
be. But if you're asking me where my money
And
is,
actually,
my money at the moment's on New Zealand.
I know everybody cares about it, but you know, in some ways, it's done so much for the game already.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, it's been a great
Whoever
game.
wins it.
Yeah, but let's be honest. I'd prefer England to win it, Jeremy.
I'd like New Zealand, so that's okay. That's fine too.
There's 2 overs left in this World Cup final, and England need 24 to win. Can I introduce the tie to the equation?
Yeah, well, that's an over, isn't it? It's
and
an
the
extra
super over.
Yeah,
I'm just going to toss that out
Yeah.
there. Let's keep our eye on it if the scores are level. There'll be a super over, 1 over per side. Neesham runs in and he bowls outside the off stump. It's been heaved down the ground. There's a man there, and Plunkett's been caught in the deep. And Plunkett has gone at 220 for 7. He just lined himself up nicely there and took a pretty straightforward catch, but then nothing at this stage is straightforward. Batting, bowling, fielding, catching, nothing is straightforward. And there's some very energised New Zealanders I see in the crowd there now. As Plunkett went for that big hit, up it went, and Bolt took the catch in front of all those cameramen down there. So, the screw tightens.
Pudsy's knock will probably never get looked back on in that final as being very influential, but they were very, very crucial runs at that time. You know, we did lose quick wickets, and he managed to come out and keep the scoreboard ticking along with myself. So, you know, that partnership I think was probably only worth 20 or 25, but at the moment in time in that game, that 25-run partnership was very, very crucial to us getting over the line.
That's very hard in the last over. To
22
bolt.
from 9 balls. Stokes on strike, and Neesham continues from that far end and bowls to Stokes. Has hit that!
As a batter, you know as soon as you've hit a ball if it's got enough to go for 6.
Bolt's down there again. Will you take the catch or will it go for 6?
I knew that I hadn't hit it far enough to clear the boundary.
And the catch has taken it. This will be a replay.
That's 6.
You know, I'd say it was like slow motion just watching the World Cup just go away, pretty much. You know, I was watching Trent get under it, settle himself, and there's no way he's going to drop it because he's a very, very good fielder.
He's stepping forward, he's stepping over, hits the boundary, it's 6.
Yeah.
It is 6. He then got rid of the ball and Guptill came in. Wow.
Guptill was signalling 6, and then for some reason I did it as well as a batter. I've got absolutely no idea why, but in that moment I felt like I was a fan. I felt like I was the guy behind Trent Bolt who got caught, you know, signalling 6.
Not only is that not a wicket, Ben's still there and that's 6 runs, and suddenly the belief starts to really improve.
And Neesham stops there. Stokes has seen somebody moving. It's probably some poor old member having a heart attack down there in the pavilion.
I think he's decided to go home. It's not exciting enough.
Oh, dear me.
Well, you'd say that Jofra Archer's got a free hit. He's got to stay down this end.
Yes.
This last ball, he's got to keep Stokes down the far end for Trent Bolt's last over. Jofra Archer's got to try and clear the ropes with this delivery.
Wow. What a terrific finish.
And can Neesham be prepared for that slower ball again? For the first ball, it's very difficult. He might pick it up, yep, sure, but it's worth a go.
Well, with this field, you think it's going to be slow. Third man, fine leg in the circle.
Well, Plunkett couldn't hit it, and he'd been in for a few deliveries, hadn't he? It'd be a damn good hit.
The facial expressions on the screen here, the crowd and the players on their balconies are amazing. 15 from 7. Here's Neesham, bowls to Archer. Is bowled in first ball. He went for the swing. The bails are flashing everywhere, and it means that Trent Bolt has got to defend 15, but 14 would be a tie for New Zealand to win the World Cup. And Stokes has to take 15 off it.
Such a simple equation for that, you know. It was just literally, it was a free hit. It was the last ball of 49th over. You know, there's no point in blocking it or trying to, you know, scamper a 2. You know, if he hits that for 6, you know, complete control is towards us again. So it was literally a do or die situation there for Jofra, and unfortunately he missed out.
Yeah, and Al Rashid, what he has to do now is at that non-strikes end, just think, I've just got to sprint back. As soon as Ben Stokes hits it, I've got to get in and out.
When I looked in Ben Stokes' eyes, I saw hope, I saw confidence, I saw that desire and that will to win. You know, there was no fear, there was no regrets. It was always that positive breed, that positive brand, what we always talk about in his eyes, you know.
We all remember that last over that Ben Stokes bowled in the last over of the T20 final in Mumbai when Brathwaite got hold of him. He's got the chance here to redeem himself, but what a tall order he faces. 15 from 6 balls. Spare a thought for the bowler too. Tough.
Now I remember waiting the bat actually, and I thought if Stokes gets out, I'm going to have to be the one that tries to hit a 4-6 in international cricket. I'm not a great batter anyway. Where am I going to possibly hit a 4-6 to get us over the line? And it's the only time I've ever played international cricket. I've never ever felt as sick as what I did in the dress. I was close to throwing up at one point. I felt so bad.
Here's Bolt, the start of the final over. He runs in smoothly, bowls to Stokes. It's a lovely full ball. He digs it out, and they're not going to take a run there.
It's the right decision. He's got to stay on strike. He's got to think 4 boundaries, 3 boundaries. If Bolt gets one on length, he's got to clear it over long on.
Yes, he does.
If it's full, he might be able to glide it past those 4 fielders on the offside for a 4.
I think the only real time I started to panic in was when the first 2 balls of last over were dots.
5 balls to go, 15 needed. Bolt's on the way, bowls to Stokes, who hammers that again to the edge of the circle, straight to the man.
Well, what bowling that is.
4 4s, 2 6s and a 4.
Yep. 4 balls, 15 more.
You work it out. That Adil Rashid's coming down now, and he's consoling Stokes, I think, is leaning on his bat.
This is the time. If it's not now, it's never. That kind of attitude we had. And it was something that, you know, it was a real buzz about it. The whole stadium. There was a different kind of buzz that, you know, it's really hard to explain.
2:27 for 8, 15 needed. What can Stokes do? Bolt's on his way, bowls to him. That's a length, and he heaves it away into the leg side. That's going to go for 6. What a shot.
To be honest, I've never ever played a sweep shot off a seamer before, so I've got absolutely no idea why I thought to play that shot.
Well, Ben Stokes, he's the fiercest of competitors.
I've faced Trent quite a lot at the end of innings. When he misses his Yorker, it's generally a full toss. That was probably what was going through my mind. Honestly, I can't fully remember, but I thought if I get down and sweep it, and then can just sort of take the pace and hopefully it will go.
Oh my, 2:33.
Well, he's got to keep trying to get it there.
9 off 3. In goes Bolt. It's a full toss. Swiped into the leg side. They want to get 2 here, surely. Come on, Adil Rashid. Run. Stokes for the far end. He's desperately getting there. Dives. Now, that came off Stokes. If it goes for 4, there's nothing they can do about it.
That's 4.
There's nothing they can do about it. Stokes is saying to the umpire, don't let it count. But it does count.
You get a tell from the keeper, you know, where he stood, because obviously the keeper comes straight up to the stumps in a situation like that, and he didn't move. So I knew that I'm going to have to get out a dive here to give myself any chance whatsoever to get in here. You know, I just got to a point where I thought this is where I'm going to have to dive.
Stokes was diving for his ground. The throw hit him absolutely accidentally and ricocheted to the boundary.
Hit his bat.
As he dived to go in.
You know, you can never ever see that happen again. From a 70-yard boundary to hit my bat and go for 4, it was a very unfortunate thing to happen, but you just can't do things about that. But the way that I think New Zealand played throughout the whole tournament and the way that they are known for playing, led by Kane, there was no complaints about it whatsoever. And I said to Kane, you know, I'll be apologising about that for a long, long time.
That is a freak. 3 from 2, but 2 ties it.
The timing of it in the game obviously helped us and brought the game back in our favour. So I didn't know how to react. I was still trying to process what had happened. I wasn't cheering or shouting or celebrating because we still needed to get over the line. Yeah, suddenly it's 3 off 2 and the odds are really in our favour.
I've never heard a noise like this at Lord's. Poor old Father Time, he's turned away, he can't bear it, look at him there. Up above the scorer's shed. He's never heard a din like this before.
You can just see Ben Stokes has taken all the time in the world. He's just got to compose himself. Getting very emotional, just watch the ball react.
The amount of thought and effort I put into, you know, constructing that innings and the processes that I went through, I wouldn't have been able to do 5 years ago, definitely not. But that comes from experience, that comes from playing, and that comes from being in situations like that similar over the 4 years that we've had together as a one-day group.
Get ready.
They're all standing in the man stand. Look at that, the crowd, they can't sit. They cannot sit down, everyone's standing. 2 ties it, and there'll be a super over if that's the way it stays. 3 to win. Bolt goes in and bowls to Stokes, who hammers it down the ground. They're running, and Rashid's coming back for the second. Surely the throw comes in, and he's run out.
on strike.
Stokes is on strike.
It took Rash so long to turn. He turned like the Titanic to get back. Trent probably had time to throw at my end and run me out, but obviously, you know, when you're caught up in something like that, you're not thinking as clearly as you would like to be.
We're going to have a tie here.
Because my mind was so clouded, before I went out to bat, there was only one ball left, and I went out with my chest guard, my arm guard, the whole works. I would have run faster if I had less on.
What a game. And here's your mate Mark Wood.
I sprinted down because I wanted to get my body sort of ready to sprint, and I was sort of coming down into the long room, and as you go through the long room, all the guys who are stood there, they sort of shout in this sort of like war-like chant. I felt like I was watching the film Zulu again. It was like, oh, come on. I was like, right, I'm ready to run. I'm just going to sprint.
There's one here anyway.
Getting that tie, I guess.
There's one here anyway. So it looks to me, I mean, the tie is on. Yeah. Can Stokes hit 2 to win? And if it goes through to the keeper, Wood's got to run.
I said to Stokes at the time, I says, look, no matter what happens, I'm just going to run, because if he missed it, we need to get one. And he just completely ignored me. His eyes were like big and glazed over. He was so in the zone.
It was probably the only time where I actually probably thought about what stage the game was at. Because before that, it was just try and get as many runs as you can, whereas that ball was, if I get out here, in terms of hitting one in the air and out, we lose. We don't win the World Cup.
Here's the last ball of the match. 2 needed to win for England. Bolt runs in. Bowls to Stokes, a low full toss. He pushes it down the ground, and Wood's going to run to second. Here they come, up to the non-strikers, and he's run out. He's run out. The match is tied.
Oh, he's out. He's out by 2 metres, I reckon.
Stokes threw his back. Wood was absolutely full length, desperately trying to get in his ground. He was run out. It looked to be a fair one from here. The umpires will check it. Oh my word.
When I look back on that moment at the end of my career, I will be happy with my decision because I made it before the ball was bowled. I consciously said to myself, keep this along the floor because at worst you're going to get one. Even if I hit it straight to a field on the ring, I knew we were going to get one.
But he said that mid-wicket was a bit squarer, so if he'd get it to mid-wicket's right, just to the left of mid-on, he was backing me to get back for 2. But he says he almost hit it 2 perfect to mid-on, that I didn't really have a chance.
It's 1 over.
Yeah, England bat first.
England bat first. Yeah. They're allowed 3 batters, in other words 2 wickets. And it's simply the runs that they score. The ground staff are coming out.
You know, I was still emotionally caught up in what had already happened. You know, I was disappointed that I didn't manage to get the 2 runs that we needed to win. So I was still carrying a bit of that with me, and then when I got told I was going back out to play in the Super Over, I knew that I couldn't be in this mindset going out there to try and get us a good score. So yeah, I just had to go out the back of the changing rooms at Lord's into the shower area and just be by myself for 5 minutes and gather my thoughts, because I had to get out of the emotions that I was in, because it wasn't the right place for someone to be in, to go out and try and do what me and Joss had to do. So doing that just sort of allowed me to forget everything and really focus on, you know, the next 10 minutes, which, you know, was probably the biggest stage in my career to date, which, you know, a Super Over in the World Cup final.
So you think it'll be Butler and Stokes? Jason Roy? You'd expect that Ben Stokes will stay out there.
Well, that would make sense.
Yeah, and Jason Roy, Butler, who are you going to send out?
We needed to figure out what worked at the time. So guys had found it hard to time the ball throughout the game. The 2 guys for us, Ben and Joss, who had that significant partnership, had found it easier than others. They hit the middle of the bat more often than others, so it was important to try and get those guys out there. So speaking to Ben and making sure he had the physical and mental strength to go back out and produce something that could win us the game was important.
I'd stick with Stokes. Probably Joss has got to go in there as well.
I was quite single-minded. I just started putting my pads on. We didn't really discuss it, but I knew I'd be one of the guys to be involved in the over, so I just started putting my pads on. And as I was padding up, Mo said, you're going to go, and I just said, who with? And he said, Stokes if he's not too tired. So we were waiting for him to come back in. But I think as well, there's, like I say, that in that half an hour, there have been so many moments of madness that it just seemed fitting that this was going to happen. And I remember being really excited that actually I can now affect the game again.
And those bowlers that are in the toilets now, that's an indication.
What's going on in that dressing room?
The energy in the dressing room was something you can't really describe because it's never done before, it's never happened before. There was excitement, that's the real word I can put, excitement of to see, what will happen at the end. We're only 10 minutes away to find out if we actually win the World Cup or we lose the World Cup.
Alim Dar came into our dressing room just before the Super Over. Jason Roy is scrambling everywhere. Owen Morgan and Trevor Bayliss are scrambling everywhere. And we can't decide what's happening, who's going to go, what is the rules. No one knows really what's going on. It's just literally the dressing room was manic. Because we'd sort of felt like we'd get out of jail a little bit, everybody was pumped and shouting, and then it took everybody to say, right, shh. And then Alim sort of said, right, this is the equation. Whatever you get, they'll need one more because you've got more boundaries.
Oh, what a game of cricket.
It is incredible. If you're just joining us, the World Cup final has tied between England and New Zealand. There'll now be a super over, 6 balls bowled by either side. And if it's tied, the team hitting more boundaries in their innings and the super over win. So I'm queuing to the Stato boffin to our left. We're going to have to keep some sort of record of this.
That would be England 22 fours and 2 sixes, New Zealand 14 fours and 2 sixes.
Who do we have? Who do we have coming out? Looks like Stokes.
Stokes and Butler.
It is Stokes and Butler.
Good call. It's going to be a man, Trent Bolt.
The crowd's ready. What a finale, what a climax. 6 balls from each team decides this World Cup final. It's a total lottery. But my word, it's an exciting one, and you just can't beat this. For a World Cup final, all the miles driven, the bowls, balls, and everything else. I mean, for goodness sake, it comes down to this. Absolutely incredible. I hope millions are watching, millions are listening. They're just everywhere, because this is the best game on the planet, and it's given a great account of itself today. Right, umpire Dharmasena is waving to I don't know who, now to the scorers. Here's the first ball of the super over to decide the World Cup final, and it's Trent Bolt for New Zealand running into Ben Stokes of England. He's heaved that away, and he's got it over the offside field, down to third man. Will it carry all the way? No, it won't, but they will come back for 3. Butler going to the far end, and Stokes makes his ground here, roared on by the crowd. Oh, these two are going to be exhausted.
Yeah, and that's why Butler's so important. Of course he can strike it into the stands, but he's so quick between the wickets. Ben Stokes is down on his knees again. Just quietly, how hard is it going to be for England's bowler to come and bowl the over?
Well,
Trent Bolt's been bowling for the last...
He had to come straight out and start bowling, loosening up, whoever it's going to be.
Yeah.
Batting to start with, myself and the coach were talking about who we would send in. And literally as that conversation finished, Jofra walked up to me.
I realised that none of the other bowlers were warming up, so I asked the captain, am I bowling this? And he was like, yeah. I was like, okay, no, thanks for the heads up.
Stokes is on his knees, he's exhausted. Well, it's deafening, it's an amazing atmosphere. And I'm just looking down at the mound stand, the top of the mound stand, 2 of the debenture holders up there, applauding, shouting. Jos Buttler's on strike. It's absolutely incredible. The members sitting and watching as Bolt's on his way. This is the second ball. In he goes and bowls to Butler, who hits him away into the leg side. There's a man there on the boundary. He got a bit of an awkward bounce, but he throws it back. It's only 1 run. So England are 4 for no wicket after 2 balls.
Yeah, again, it's so hard for someone like Butler. I mean, I know he's been batting, but he's been on that balcony, sitting down, and all of a sudden you're sent out there. Go on then, try and crash it into the stands. It's going to be difficult for the New Zealand batsman to go out there and just crash it from ball 1.
Stokes again. The field changes round. Good to have a left-right hand as well, from England's perspective. But Bolt's done pretty well so far. It's such a pressurised situation. 4 for no wicket. Here comes the 3rd ball. Bolt runs up, left arm over, and Stokes has hit that away into the leg side. Has he found the gap? He has! He has! The fielder dived despairingly at full length. He got a hand to it. But he simply run the ball into the boundary. 8 for no wicket. And listen to them.
That's the sweep shot. That's like a sweep you would play against the spinner.
Ben is the biggest team man, the biggest carer, a huge thinker, and he upholds unbelievable standards on the cricket field. And that rubs off in the change room on everybody. I suppose the biggest compliment I can pay him is that he just cares about everybody outside himself, and not a lot of people know that. It's fantastic that one of your best players in the team worries about the progress of everybody else and isn't solely focused on himself.
Someone some time ago told me cricket was a boring game. I hope he's watching. 8 for no wicket. Here's the 4th ball. Bolt goes in. Bowls a low full toss. Oh, he's hit it straight to the man there on the edge of the circle. That could have been 4. A couple of yards either side, and Stokes looks upwards. Oh no, I missed out there. It was well fielded on the edge of the circle. They take 1. So 9 for no wicket with 2 balls to go. Archer's loosening up. He's going to be the man that bowls us. What a responsibility.
I think that Archer will probably go for hitting the pitch hard. Butler, can he get 1 boundary?
He's loosening up down there, Archer, on the boundary edge. Stretching. Bolt. 2 balls to go. Left arm over the wicket, bowls a low full toss, and that's chipped away into the offside. They'll try and get 2. The fielder didn't see it. He lost it, and they've got 2. Oh no! He didn't move. He sort of started running the wrong way. That should never have been 2. He's got the sun right in his eyes. Nichols. Oh, what a horrible moment for him. He just didn't see it. He responded too late, and they've got 2. 11. With a ball to go, Butler on strike, and Bolt on his way. Bowls to him, he chips that away into the leg side, out towards the boundary. It goes! It hits the boundary.
That felt like a big moment, actually. I remember Stokesy sort of punching the air or punching his bat or something and shouting yes, and you know, that felt like, 15 feels like a big score, and the 2 of us have played with Jofra in the IPL and know what a great bowler he is and how good his death skills are, and he was seen in the 50 over bit of that final how well he bowled at the end. So to give Jofra 15, I thought, really good here. I like this.
This is going to be loud.
It is going to be loud. They're revved up for this. Neil Darman, where are you?
Yes.
Even the members are up. I'm sure some of them are singing.
They're dancing on the top tier.
This is Lords.
It's great, isn't it?
This is Lords. Well, this is special, it really is, and what it says about England's faith in 24-year-old Archer, who is playing his first series of cricket for England, and it's a World Cup, and he's going to come on and bowl 1 over. This is, it's an incredible responsibility for him.
Jofra as a person is one of the most talented guys that has ever put on a shirt for England. He has an extraordinary level of skill for a guy who is so young.
Jofra, I played 2 years of IPL before he even made his England debut, and I knew he was destined for stardom from watching the way that he did in India. And he asked me a few times actually about that night in Kolkata at the World Cup T20 final, and he was saying like, how do you come back from that? And I didn't really have a good answer for him, to be honest. And I was going over my head, like, should I go up and say something to him? I was like, no, I shouldn't. But then when it came to it, I felt if it went wrong, I would have sort of put a little bit on the blame of myself, not going up and saying something to him. Because I've been in a situation like that before, and I know what it feels like, and it is scary. It is a scary place to be. I didn't really say much. I said, whatever happens here, it isn't going to define your career. Because in the moment when things don't go well like that, you feel like that's it. You feel like that's all you're going to be remembered for, but it's not. And just sort of letting them know that we're here for you. We've got you. We're supporting you, and we're not letting you feel like you're the only person out there.
Of course, this is the World Cup final. It's completely different, but he's bowled in front of huge crowds in India, huge crowds in Australia. Yep. This is what he was picked to do: see out games for England.
Me and him are fairly close as well, so we always have a chat. And I went up to him before the Super over, and he was always like, "Yeah, I got this. Don't worry." You know, then it was just almost a thing of, right, you know, you go ahead, go do your thing, because you know what you're doing.
6 balls to decide the World Cup. And Archer's having a conversation there with Morgan, who I suspect will just be keeping him cool, keeping him calm. It's the way that Morgan operates.
Everything was about being clear about what he was doing. We spoke a lot about his best ball, and his best ball for that moment was his Yorker. So trying to reiterate what he was doing the whole time and trying to make him as clear as possible and get him into that frame of mind where he's running into ball, not double guessing himself or carrying excess baggage from the previous ball is very important.
Because Archer will dig it in sharp. And if you think it's just going to be a Yorker and on a plate slot, of course the Grandham and those kind of players, that's what they can hit. But I think he'll go aggressive, try and get it, chest. Try and say to the Kiwis, go on then, try and play the pull shot.
We actually asked Marais Erasmus as we were going out, saying if it's a tie, what happens, who wins? And he said, you're ahead on the boundary count, they can't catch you, so if it's a tie, you guys win. So we all knew that from the start of the over. So I think that clarity is a big moment, actually, because if we get to that last ball and say Morgs has to run to the umpire and say, what's going to happen if it's a tie, I think that just creates, but sort of, you become disillusioned with what's going on in asking questions, whereas we felt like we had real clarity that we knew that's what we had to do.
So Nisham, who's left-handed, takes guard from umpire Messina. The sun is fully out now, but the lights are on and the shadows creeping onto Lords. A sunlit evening, what a perfect stage for this dramatic finish. Here's the first ball. Archer from round the wicket bowls very wide outside the off stump. It's corner wide. Oh. And Archer there, he looked devastated at that call.
To be honest, the line that he's trying to bowl is right on the wide line. So the chances of him bowling wide are quite high, but you take that risk in order to gain the benefit. And when he bowled it, it's not a big deal, but he wanted to refer it straight away because he thought you could, and then you could overturn the wide. And I was like, no, you can't do that. So it was a matter of just asking him questions, letting him offload about the wide, and then resetting and talking about the next ball.
In goes Archer. He bowls to Nisham, very full, beautifully bowled. They're going to run this second one quickly because I think Gupta might have stolen that one a bit. The throw goes to the far end, and they've made their second. I might be keeping an eye on Guptill here because he was out of those blocks very quickly.
Oh, what a Yorker that was.
He was,
that was in the block hole. He had to dig that out. He did well there, Nisham.
He's actually bowled 2 terrific balls. 13.
James Vince down here
5.
on the boundary.
Nisham looks around. This is to decide the World Cup final. 13 needed from 5 balls. Archer runs in easily and bowls. He's heaved that for 6.
Oh, what a shot.
6 into the mound stand. And Archer missed his length. 7 from 4.
I've watched it on TV, and as soon as he hits the 6, you think, that's it, England are done. But I didn't get that feeling on the field.
It's a superb blow.
There was no such thing as worry, because we know they were chasing 15. There is going to be a 6. There is going to be a boundary. There is going to be something, I'm sure the whole crowd or people watching are thinking, oh my God, it's game over. But I think, but within the ground, all the boys, we were confident. This is far from done. This is a long way off.
And Archer's not ready yet. He's calling Morgan over.
We talked about the position of the game. Would we still bowl a Yorker, or would he have to do something different? And we agreed that he had to do something different. We felt that it was New Zealand's game after that 6 was hit. It's quite a significant moment in that over.
Where does he go now?
He's got to go short.
Full again or short?
He's got to go short. He's got to get him playing the cross-batted shot.
Get your back lift up.
7 from 4. There's 9 for no wicket in this super over. Here's the third ball. Archer round the wicket, moves in, bowls to silence. That's clubbed away into the leg side. They shouldn't get 2, but they're going to try it. Throw it. Oh, there's a fumble out there.
Oh no!
And they do get their 2.
5 off 3.
Jason Roy was it out there? I think 11 for no wicket.
And I thought I've made a big mistake here. Turned around, saw the crowd just staring at me, almost in disbelief that I'd misfielded it. And I just wanted to crawl into a hole, to be honest.
He is running into the sun, I know, but he just snatched at it. A little bobble before him, hard hands, the pressure. You could see that the batsmen were going for the second.
Unfortunately, there was no excuses. The ball came straight towards me. maybe just try to get the ball in far too quicker than I should have. I didn't concentrate on the basics and just tried to wang it in.
5 from 3, and the pressure on Archer now.
Same position that Nicol was in, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, the one blow away, and the he's not gone short. Just continue to go full, 3 full deliveries. One was a wide, one went for 2, one went for 6, one went for 2.
5 from 3. It's 11 for no wicket in this super over.
Neesham was in the crowd at the MCG 4 years ago supporting New Zealand.
Well, he's on strike now to win them the World Cup. In goes Archer, round the wicket, bowls to him, and it's heaved into the leg side. That's heading towards the boundary, intercepted by Roy. They shouldn't get 2 now. The throw comes in to Archer, and he's made his ground again.
Wrong end.
Yeah, it was.
Guptill again has made it up to this end. 13 for no wicket, 3 more for New Zealand to win.
Don't rule out the tie.
From 2 balls.
It's exactly the same scenario, wasn't it, in the game?
Exactly the same scenario.
Oh. Morgan again.
It's 3 to win, by the way, isn't it?
Well, I think Morgan will be saying the same as Kane Williamson in the last over of the game, when he's going to have to move himself from extra cover to mid-wicket. No, he's going to stay the same. He's going to stay at extra cover. So that big vacant space at mid-wicket is available.
Yeah.
Don't know why the umpire, Darmasin's gone down speaking to the batsman, maybe saying, look, you can't get a head start at the non-striker's end.
Yeah, I think someone might have had a word. And I'm watching the ball, but the way that Guptill's running very quickly, but that maybe he's just Usain Bolt with a batting helmet on, but he's very quick. 2 balls, 3 for New Zealand to win. Archer from round the wicket, bowls to Neesham, it's short, he clubs it away, they get a single. Don't throw it, he didn't throw it, sorry.
And that's a little insight to where his mindset and calm nature comes in.
Archer there had the ball and aimed for a moment at the non-striker's end, but there was nobody there to take it.
A guy who's all over the place and not thinking straight would have thrown the stumps down and cost us an extra run, whereas Joffrey just held onto the ball.
2 from 1.
If he gets bat on this, they'll take the run.
Yeah.
So we are going to end up with boundaries.
So it's boundaries.
Do we really want to decide the World Cup on that?
Well, New Zealand will know that they have to get 2.
Yeah, of course.
One's not enough. New Zealand need the 2 to win.
Yeah, they do.
If they only get 1, England are the world champions.
Guptill hasn't faced a ball
yet.
How
can you separate this?
Well, what are England going to do with
2
the field?
from 1 ball. Where's he going to bowl it? Or where's he going to aim to bowl it?
Well, the difference between Guptill and Neesham, you saw that last ball, it was into the wicket, and he looked more uncomfortable playing the cross-batted pull shot. Guptill's quite good on the short ball, so you think he'd probably have to go for the Yorker.
Yep.
2 runs, New Zealand win. 1 run, England win the tie scenario. No runs, England win regardless.
You could hit him on the pads here. You could hit him on the pads.
Why is Rashid in the slip corner?
I don't know.
I'm sure he had a lot of things going through his head of what to bowl, but I'm sure, and I'm also sure he was dead certain of knowing what he's going to bowl and what he's going to do.
He's going back onto the edge of the circle.
Yeah, you don't need a slip.
2 runs off this ball, New Zealand win. 1 run, and England win.
So I was at long on, and obviously knew the ball wasn't coming to me. So I've just started sort of like creeping in anyway, watching the ball.
I've got a good feeling that Joff's going to be bowling a Yorker, and more often than not, no matter where he misses it, shorter or fuller, it's coming towards either long on or myself at Cow.
It's come to this. Here's the last ball of the World Cup final.
I just had a weird feeling, and everything went silent. As soon as the ball hit his bat, everything just went dead silent. It was the eeriest feeling I've ever had as a cricketer.
Archer bowls it, it's clipped away into the leg side. They're going to come back for the second. The throw's picked up, they throw to the wicket-keeper's end.
I can see that J. Roy's running in, and I'm like, just don't fumble it, don't fumble it. Like, picks it up, like, please be a good throw.
Luckily picked this one up and just got rid of it. Took more time with it, way more time than I did the previous one, and Joss Buttler did the rest.
And then I just remember running to the stumps, and if anywhere you want to take a throw, it's Lords, because the bounce will be great. And I just remember thinking, do your job. If that was any other piece of fielding in any other game, it would be, there's no pressure and you've got so much time, just not thinking that, but that was what it would be. And I just think, do your job. Got time, because I knew it had gone straight to him. Jason did his bit, and then I knew I just had to gather it and take the stumps.
He's run out, is he? I think he's run out. England think he's run out. England are convinced he's been run out. They're celebrating. It was thrown to the right end, to Butler's end, who had to work hard to take those bails off. England are sure they've got him. a tie in the tiebreaker. But it's England's game on more boundaries in the match. New Zealand look devastated. Guptill's on his haunches. I think he knows, as England do. Here's the replay. Wait for the cheer. We're watching Butler gather the ball. He's got a bit of work to do to take it to the stumps. Wait now, listen. That tells you that England have won the World Cup. The fireworks going off the grandstand. It'll be confirmed on the screen. Out. And Jofra Archer has done it from the most unpromising start. He's on his knees. Well done, young man. My word. What an effort that is. What an effort. 24-year-old Jofra Archer to come out and bowl that over. He's slammed for 6 over deep mid-wicket.
I just remember breaking the stumps and then just the pure elation of winning the World Cup, and that you do stuff you don't even realise. You know, I threw all my wicket-keeping gloves up in the air and just running round, and you know, you see Moeen Ali is running past me, and then other guy, and I remember coming round the corner where Jofra's lying on the floor and just giving him a massive hug, and that 20-30 seconds of elation and sort of you know, that's the best moment of my career.
It's been an absolutely brilliant game of cricket, and I'd have said that if they'd got those 2 runs there. It really has, and to have been opened up for people to watch, to see it, to enjoy it, to get some idea of what cricket's all about. What a day it's been. And you can't help but feel really sorry for New Zealand and Guptill, who will just look at that yard that he couldn't make.
I just remember sprinting. I remember sort of like high-fiving Joss as he ran past me. I remember Jofra was on the floor, Stokes, he was on the other side of the field, and people were just sort of grabbing each other. It was like Plunkett was crying his eyes out, and we sort of all like sort of gathered jumping on each other, and you can't sort of hear everything. Everything's a bit like like muffled because people are shouting in your ear, the crowd's going wild. Chris Wook sort of picked me up out of nowhere, and I don't know if people have ever seen it on the footage, but he sort of like carries me 15 yards and he just keeps shouting, "Woody!" He hasn't said anything to me. I still don't know what was, and I just kept shouting, we've done it, and he just kept shouting, "Woody!"
But Owen Morgan, who has spent 4 years planning for this, can now embrace his players. Chris Woakes at the moment.
That moment when he takes the veils off, there's just a complete release of emotion. The highs, the lows we've been through over the last 4 years, it has all been justified in so many ways. And you know, moments after that, we run around like school kids, you know, just chasing each other and just so excited. Such an incredible feeling.
And Stokes hugging people there, the backroom staff, the coaches who've come out onto the field as well.
The thing about team sport is that you aren't doing it for yourself, you're doing it for everybody else involved. And walking off as a winning team at the end of a game is so satisfying because you get to share that moment with 15 players, 10 people, you know, physios, backroom staff who put the same amount of effort and time into the guys who are out there playing. You know, throughout that World Cup, it wasn't just 11 guys who played there. You know, we had a 15-man squad. We had a very big backroom staff who kept us on the field, who kept us fit, because it was a very, very tough 7 weeks. And at the end of that day, when we were all in the changing rooms celebrating our World Cup victory, it was awesome because, you know, you could just look around and everyone was just so happy for each other, which is just why I love being part of a team.
And the celebrations will start on what has been an incredibly dramatic day here at Lord's. Unprecedented scenes at the home of cricket, which has hosted an incredible game. An incredible game. And they're bringing out the podiums and so on for the presentations. The England players are still out there in the middle. It's deafening. I almost lost my voice here. Well. Players, one by one, leaving the field. New Zealand's batsmen traipsing behind, devastated by that. And there's a nice shake of the hands and embrace there from Ben Stokes to Martin Guptill. So bad luck, it could have been us, and it could have been. There's so many tiny fractions and what-ifs, and you go back to that incredible fluke with the boundary of the diving Stokes off the bat and 4 runs. It would be New Zealand now who would be celebrating. But that's what sport deals you, the hands you get. And today, that little bit of the rub of the green has gone England's way. And Stokes hugging people there, the backroom staff, the coaches who have come out onto the field as well. And the New Zealand team now, sporting as ever, are coming out and they're going to shake hands with the England players. They'll be devastated, but I hope in a few years' time, or perhaps shorter than that, they'll look back at this and they'll remember the day and they'll think, wow, what a game that was. We played in that, we were there, and it was an amazing day for cricket, but it didn't happen for us today. But Archer's got a huge smile on his face. And I'm not surprised. That was a real tall order for the young man, and he delivered. Well, Owen Morgan's finished there. He's clasped the World Cup trophy in his hands. He's shaking hands with the fella who's giving it to him. And in a moment, you are going to hear a tremendous roar from this crowd here at Lord's as Owen Morgan stands on the podium, is in front of his team. There it goes. And the players are jumping up and down, they're celebrating, there are fireworks going off, there's flames shooting into the air as England are crowned world champions. Jason Roy kisses the trophy. Owen Morgan's walking off, whether he's going to lead his team off into a lap of honour or something, I'm not sure, but anyway, there's more photographs to be taken. And we'll have our conversation with some of these players once they've gone through all of this formal business here. There's bottles of champagne that are about to be unleashed. Owen, sorry, I'm going to get you now. You smell appalling. That champagne all over you.
I don't even like champagne. Today, I absolutely love it. What an unbelievable day. A great advert for the game. I'll commend the Black Caps and Kane. An incredibly tight game that, you know, the finest of margins managed to get us over the line. We're incredibly proud. This has been in the pipeline for 4 years. A lot of planning behind it. Everybody that's involved here and a lot of people who aren't. The backroom staff have been incredible. So it's time to enjoy ourselves, I think, Agus.
It is. Feel free to give the crowd a wave while we're talking. I'm stealing a ride with you, so go around the crowd. Give them a wave. Go on. Isn't this incredible?
Absolutely unbelievable. I still can't quite believe it. The whole day, to be honest. Packed house at Lord's. The support is incredible. It's been incredible from the very beginning of the tournament. You had the good faith, belief for all our fans, and we've managed to pull it off. And that's such a good feeling.
I can't imagine a scene like this to do at Lord's as well.
I've said incredible about 50 times since we've lifted the trophy. It truly is that our fans and supporters are, I think, the best people on the planet. They've supported us throughout, regardless when we looked like we weren't going to qualify. 2 must-win games that we managed to scrape through it, and then Edgbaston in the semi-final has continued through to today. So I'd like to thank them all. They've been incredible for us over the last 4 years. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you for the time you've given us, Owen, and congratulations. You've been fantastic. Go and enjoy yourself. Go on. Right, I'm now going to find Ben Stokes. Ben, wherever you're going, I'm coming in here. Congratulations. Congratulations. Well, how on earth do you start describing that?
I don't know. I was saying to everyone before, like, what I don't understand what it is with finals that produce things like that. You know, the actual game finishes a tie, super over, and the super over finishes a tie. But, you know, I think the only reason we won is because we hit more boundaries. So it's incredible. It's what finals. I don't know what it is. Amazing.
What's it done for cricket, do you think? English cricket?
I I think we'll probably find out tomorrow, but I think the support we've had throughout this whole journey has been amazing, and we've always had great support. And you could see the emotion that all the fans in the crowd had today there, you know, when the game was ebbing and flowing, and the noise that it had there at the end. You know, I hope that we've inspired people to want to do this, you know, in the future. You know, kids and everything like that want to be a part of what we've just been a part of.
To get your hands on that trophy and knowing that you guys have that trophy all night, and anytime you just want to pick it up and get someone to take a picture with it or just look at it and stare at it and think we've won that, it's awesome, because it's like, I think especially getting that close, you know, I always think of God, the hurt that it would be if it was on the other side, but you just is so pleased for everyone. You know, I think because we all know as well how much we've all put into it, how much we'd invested as a group of guys to get to that.
If you just look at our team now, look at the people, the backgrounds that we're all from. Ben Stokes, New Zealand, Jofra Archer, Barbados, Owen Morgan, our skipper, our leader from Ireland, myself from, like I said, background from, you know, Kashmir. But it shows, you know, together what you really can achieve. You know, putting aside all that, you know, where you're from, wherever, but together as England, it shows what you can achieve and what, you know, you can achieve. You can achieve greatness, regardless of your backgrounds or your religion or whatever.
10 years down the line, when you're retired or about to retire, and it shows back on TV, and you can say, well, gosh, I really had a part to play on that day.
The drama, what we have just witnessed over the last hour, can't quite believe it.
Just such an emotional 7 weeks, you know. We played it in our home country, we had the support of everyone, and obviously the game that was played was ridiculous, really, remarkable. You know, the greatest game of cricket that's ever played, people have been saying, and I don't think they're wrong. Yeah, it was cool.